I sat at the kitchen table, my eyes glued to my mom as she cooked dinner, my heart racing with a mix of admiration and something far more complicated. My mom, Elizabeth Harper, is 37 years old, a high school English teacher, standing at 5 feet 7 inches with a flawless, model-like beauty that turns heads wherever she goes. Her skin is smooth and pale, her waist as slim as a 20-year-old's, her legs long and toned, and her full lips a striking red. Her dark hair falls just past her shoulders, often tied up in a loose bun, framing a face so perfect it could belong on a magazine cover. People on the street often mistake her for 25 or 26. She looks like a Victoria's Secret angel. I'm Ryan, 16 years old, and I've always been proud to have such a stunning mom. She's gentle, soft-spoken, and sometimes even a little naive, as my dad, Michael, likes to tease her. Dad's a government worker, 8 years older than Mom, and I've always wondered how he managed to win her over. We live in a middle-class, traditional family, and I've always looked up to my mom, not just for her beauty, but for the way she carries herself with grace. But everything changed at the end of my sophomore year. My friends and I got into some questionable stuff, as teenage boys often do. One of them printed out a stack of adult stories from the internet, and we'd huddle together, reading and giggling like it was some big secret. I couldn't resist. I brought a copy home, locked myself in my room, and started reading. My bedroom door doesn't have a lock, so I just pushed it shut, my heart pounding as I dove into the forbidden pages. The story I read was about a mother and son, and it hit me hard. My face flushed, my body reacted, and for the first time, I gave in to the urge, overwhelmed by the rush of it all. At dinner that night, Mom noticed something was off. "Ryan, why's your face so red?" she asked, her voice full of concern. I stammered, "Oh, I was just doing push-ups in my room." She bought it, but that moment marked the beginning of an obsession. From then on, I was hooked. I spent hours online, reading more stories, losing myself in fantasies I couldn't control. It didn't help that my cousin Jake, who's 8 years older than me, started taking me to the gym with him. He and his buddies would talk endlessly about women, their conversations crude and vivid, and I'd listen, soaking it all in while lifting weights. Those stories, those conversations, they all started to twist my thoughts. I couldn't stop thinking about my mom. How could I not? She was breathtaking, and I was a hormonal teenager with a mind running wild. It all came to a head one ordinary evening. Instead of studying, I was in my room, engrossed in another story on my laptop, my back turned to the door. I was so focused I didn't hear Mom coming in. She'd decided to check on me, and since she wasn't wearing her glasses, she's nearsighted and often goes without them at home, she didn't immediately notice what I was doing. My posture must have looked odd, because she tiptoed closer, peering over my shoulder. At that exact moment, I reached my limit, and in a mortifying twist of fate, the result landed right on her face. She gasped, stumbling back and falling to the floor, her perfect face now a mess, her expression one of pure shock. I turned around, saw her, and froze. My heart raced so fast I couldn't breathe, my mouth gaping as I struggled for air. It was the most humiliating moment of my life. Mom, still in shock, saw me struggling and immediately switched into mom mode. She wiped her face with her sleeve, rushed to my side, and laid me on the bed. "Ryan, breathe," she urged, pressing on my chest and even attempting CPR. I was young and healthy, I probably would have been fine without the help, but her quick actions brought me back. I sat up, gasping, my face burning with embarrassment. I couldn't even look at her. "Are you okay, honey?" she asked softly, her voice trembling. I mumbled, "I'm fine, Mom." "I'm so sorry." She sighed with relief. "Good. Do you want some water? I'll get you some." She grabbed a glass from my desk, handed it to me, and watched as I drank, making sure I was really okay. The air between us grew heavy with awkwardness. Neither of us knew what to say. Mom started to speak, then stopped, her face still flushed. Finally, she said, "I'll head back to my room. You should rest." As she reached the door, I called out, my voice barely a whisper, "Mom, you forgot to clean your face." She froze, her cheeks turning an even deeper red. She yanked her shirt up to wipe her face, realizing the mess was still there. She shot me a quick, embarrassed glare, but then a small smile crept onto her lips before she hurried out. I heard Dad's voice from downstairs. "Elizabeth, are you okay? Why were you running to the bathroom like that?" I sat there, stunned, knowing she was probably taking a shower to wash away the evidence of our mortifying encounter. After that night, things between us shifted. I avoided her as much as I could, and she seemed to do the same. We barely spoke, though I caught her glancing at me sometimes, her expression unreadable. But I couldn't stop myself. I went right back to my old habits, reading more stories, unable to resist the pull. The next evening, Mom decided to confront me. This time, she wore her glasses, so she saw everything clearly the moment she walked in. I was in the middle of another session, but I heard the door creak and stopped immediately. Too late, she'd already seen me. She sighed, her brow furrowing. "Ryan, don't you realize how this could affect your health?" I froze, unable to respond, silently cursing my bad luck. After a long silence, I muttered, "Mom, I don't want to, but I can't help it. I don't know what to do." She looked at me, her face flushing again, then turned away. "I understand, honey. At your age, it's normal to feel this way. But you need to control it. It's not good for you. You know that, right?" An idea, a reckless, dangerous idea, popped into my head. I put on my best pitiful expression, my eyes welling up. "I know, Mom, but it's so hard. I can't focus on studying. I keep thinking about it. My head's all messed up. I can't learn like this." Her beautiful eyes, framed by her glasses, softened with concern, tears brimming. "Oh, my poor boy. How did this happen?" "It's our fault. We've been so busy. We didn't pay enough attention to you." She pulled me into a hug, looking into my eyes. "What can I do to help you, sweetheart?" My heart leapt. I hesitated, then blurted out, "Mom, can you help me? If you help me, I won't need to read those stories anymore. I really need you, Mom. Once I get past this, I'll be okay, I promise." She pulled back, shocked. "What? Me? No, that's not right." But I noticed her swallow hard, her reaction almost cute. I pressed on, grabbing her hand. "Please, Mom, help me. If you do, I won't be distracted anymore. I'll study hard, I'll make you proud. I promise my grades will improve." She shook her head, still hesitant. "No, Ryan, I'm your mother. That's not appropriate." I feigned confusion. "But you'd just be helping me, Mom. You can just use your hand, that's all. Please?" I guided her hand closer, but she pulled back, her fingers trembling. "This isn't right, honey," she said, her voice shaky. "I'm scared." I pleaded, "Mom, I don't know what else to do. Please, I need you." She hesitated, then sighed. "Let me think about it, okay? But you have to try to control yourself. I'm begging you." I nodded, pretending to be disappointed but secretly thrilled. I knew I was close to getting what I wanted. "Okay, Mom. I'll try. But please think about helping me. You're the only one I can turn to. I love you so much." She looked at me for a long moment, then sighed again. "I'll go back to my room. Keep studying, okay?" As she stood to leave, I noticed her glance at me one more time, her ears red, before she hurried out. I grinned to myself, knowing I had to play the good son to make this work. The next day, I acted normal, went to school, came home for lunch. Mom and I teach at the same school, but we don't usually go together since she often leaves early and I stay late. When I got home, she was already cooking lunch. My grandparents rarely come home for lunch, so it was just us. We ate together, making small talk, but she didn't mention our conversation from the night before. I was on edge, waiting for her to say something, but she didn't. Disappointed, I went to my room to nap. That evening, I studied while keeping an ear out for her, but she never came. I decided to focus on my work, thinking maybe I'd pushed too hard. Around 11 p.m., I heard soft footsteps approaching my door. They stopped, then retreated. I figured she was just checking on me through the crack in the door, and I was glad I looked like a diligent student. Another day passed with no progress, and I started to worry my plan had failed. But on the third day, Dad came home for lunch. While he watched TV in the living room, Mom and I were alone in the kitchen. I handed her a basket of washed vegetables, putting on a sad face. I looked into her eyes and whispered, "Mom." Before I could finish, she shushed me, glancing nervously toward Dad. "Tonight," she whispered, her face turning red. I couldn't help but smile. She looked so adorable when she was embarrassed. That night, I waited anxiously. Around 10 p.m., after Dad had gone to bed, I heard her soft voice at my door. "Ryan." I jumped up, opened the door, and let her in. It was late October, still warm, and Mom was wearing a fitted t-shirt and thin shorts that showed off her long, pale legs. She sat on my bed while I took the chair at my desk, facing her. I suddenly felt shy, unable to speak. She took a deep breath, looked at me, and said, "Listen, Ryan. I've thought about this a lot. I really didn't want to do this, but I love you so much. I'll help you as your mother, but there are conditions." I nodded eagerly, barely containing my excitement. "First, you have to improve your grades. Second, I'll only help you with my hand, nothing more. And finally, this stays between us. No one can know. Understand?" "Yes, Mom," I said, a bit too loudly. She flinched, scolding me, "Not so loud. Your dad just went to sleep." She tapped my head lightly, and I stuck out my tongue, grinning innocently. "I promise, Mom. I'll study so hard you'll see. I won't let you down." She smiled, giving me a playful side-eye. "You'd better keep that promise." The awkward tension melted away, and I couldn't help but imagine what was coming. She noticed my expression, her face flushing again. "You can't wait, can you?" "So embarrassing," she teased, tucking her hair behind her ear. I pleaded, "Please, Mom, help me." She nodded shyly. "Okay, let's start." I stood up, moving quickly, and her reaction was something I'll never forget. Her eyes widened, her delicate hands flying to her mouth as she gasped softly. "Oh my," she whispered, clearly caught off guard. After the accidental incident a few days ago, she hadn't really seen anything up close. Now, she was stunned. Her face turned bright red, her eyes locked on me as if mesmerized. "I can't believe this," she murmured, swallowing hard. She looked up at me, a nervous smile on her lips. "You're full of surprises, aren't you?" I grinned sheepishly. "That's why it's been so hard for me, Mom." She motioned for me to sit beside her on the bed. I obeyed, sitting close as she leaned toward me. Her breathing was quick. She was clearly nervous, her face warm. Without a word, she began, her touch sending a wave of euphoria through me. I couldn't help but moan softly, "Oh, Mom, you're amazing." She glanced at me, smiling shyly. "As long as you're happy. But I'm the one suffering here." I chuckled, closing my eyes and savoring the moment. "Is this okay? Do you like it?" she asked. I thought to myself, nothing in the world could be better than this. As expected, I didn't last long, maybe 2 minutes. Mom sighed, shaking her head. "You're such a handful," she muttered, her tone playful, almost girlish, which only made her seem more beautiful. "Have you finished your homework?" she asked. "Yes, Mom, I'm done." "Then go to bed, okay?" "Yes, ma'am." "Thank you, Mom." I hugged her tightly, whispering, "You were incredible tonight. You're like a goddess." "I love you so much." She scoffed, but her smile betrayed her. "Goddess, huh? More like this." She ruffled my hair, then stood to leave. The next morning, I woke up early, still in disbelief about the night before. I brushed my teeth, washed my face, and went downstairs. Mom was getting ready for work, humming happily. She was wearing a sleek black office dress, one she rarely wore because the last time she did, it caused a stir at school. With her height, pale skin, and high heels, she looked like a runway model, absolutely stunning. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, staring in awe. She noticed me and laughed. Why are you staring at me like that? Mom, why are you wearing that today? You don't usually dress like this. She raised an eyebrow. I felt like it. Is that a problem? No, but I don't want other people staring at you. You're too beautiful. I want to be the only one who gets to see you like this. She burst out laughing. What does that have to do with you, silly? It has everything to do with me. I'm your son. I want you all to myself. She shook her head, still smiling. You're such a kid sometimes. Hurry up and eat breakfast. We need to get to school. I had an idea. Wait for me, Mom. Let's go together today. She teased. Oh, you usually insist on going alone, and now you want to tag along? I mumbled under my breath, well, I don't want anyone else stealing you. She heard me, her eyes widening. What did you just say? I grinned cheekily. Just then, Dad poked his head out of their room. You two haven't left yet? What's so funny? We both jumped, grabbed our things, and rushed out the door. I rode behind Mom on her scooter, my arms around her waist, breathing in the scent of her hair. It was exhilarating. She occasionally scolded me. Hey, keep your hands to yourself, mister. You're too much. At school, I hopped off, walking through the gates under the jealous stares of my classmates. Lucky guy, having a mom that gorgeous, I heard someone mutter. At lunch, Dad didn't come home, so it was just Mom and me. We cooked together, chatting and laughing. While standing close to her, I whispered, Mom, can you help me again this afternoon? She blushed, hesitating. We just did last night. Please, Mom, I really need it. She sighed, her cheeks red. Fine, but just this once, okay? After lunch, we sat on the couch for a bit, watching TV, then headed to my room. I sat on the bed, feeling that same rush as she helped me again. Wanting to get closer to her, I decided to make conversation. Mom, have you and Dad never tried this? She turned away, embarrassed, but answered softly, no. We didn't do things like that back then. She added, kids these days know more than we ever did. I grinned. Maybe you should try it with Dad, he'd love it. You're the best, Mom. She scoffed, but smiled. You're such a flatterer. Always talking nonsense. When we were done, she said, clean up your mess, okay? And stood to leave. I called after her, can I come to your room, Mom? It's so hot in here. She turned back, glaring at me. Don't even think about it. Your dad will be home soon. I pouted as she walked away, knowing I had to take things slow. That night, I studied late, regretting my promise to her earlier. I'd finished my homework and thought about playing some games, but I needed to use the bathroom first. Our house only has a bathroom on the first floor, so I crept downstairs, passing my parents' room. I heard muffled voices and paused, listening closely. Dad's voice came through. Wow, you're taking the lead tonight, huh? I stifled a laugh. Mom must have taken my advice from earlier. As I came back from the bathroom, I saw her step out of their room, looking frustrated. I grinned at her, and she glared back, clearly annoyed. It's late, go to bed. I won't wake you up if you oversleep, she snapped. Seeing me smirk, she realized I'd overheard and got even angrier. I knew she was mad because my suggestion had backfired. She'd tried something new with Dad, and it hadn't gone as planned. For the next month, things settled into a strange routine. Every couple of days, Mom would help me, and we grew closer, talking more openly. But she never crossed any further lines, always keeping her boundaries firm. One day, while visiting Jake, he showed me some tricks on the computer. An idea sparked. When Mom wasn't home, I snuck into her laptop, the one she uses to prepare lessons, and replaced her antivirus software shortcut with a link to a video I'd saved on her computer. The video was exactly what you'd expect. That evening, as planned, Mom came rushing into my room, laptop in hand. Ryan, something's wrong with my computer. It's showing some weird video. I glanced at her knowingly, making her blush. I took the laptop, pretending to inspect it. After a moment, I said, Mom, it's a virus. It's automatically playing that video. You must have clicked on something weird online. She turned red, insisting I didn't do anything. It just popped up. What kind of video is this? I smirked. It's normal, Mom. Everyone does stuff like that these days. She looked shocked. Really? That's what people do now. Seizing the opportunity, I asked, did you watch it closely? How do you know what it is? She stammered. What are you talking about? I wouldn't watch something like that. I pressed on. Mom, all the guys in my class know about this stuff. It's not a big deal. She gasped. What? And you watch it with them? I've seen some, yeah, I admitted. It's normal, Mom. Everyone our age knows about it. It's better to learn now so we're not clueless later. She shook her head, horrified. No, Ryan, that's not okay. It's wrong. I countered, but how can you say that if you don't even know what it's like? Why don't you watch it with me, Mom? You can see if there's anything bad, and if there is, you can tell me to avoid it. She hesitated, her face red, looking down. I took her hand, encouraging her, and played a tame video. She watched reluctantly, her eyes darting to the screen and away, swallowing hard several times. I can't believe what I'm seeing, she whispered, her voice shaky. It's not a big deal, Mom, I said. This is normal now. Emboldened, I pushed further. Why don't you try it, Mom? Just once. She recoiled. What? No way. That's so embarrassing. What if your dad thinks I'm weird? It's just with me, Mom. What's there to be afraid of? If you don't try, I won't respect you, I teased, goading her. She sat there, blushing, silent for a moment, then snapped. Fine. I'll try it once, just so you'll stop talking. She glared at me, but I could tell she was nervous. A few minutes later, she gave in, trying something new. When she finished, she wrinkled her nose. Ugh, it's salty like egg whites. Not as bad as I thought. I laughed. You barely tried it, Mom. How would you know? She huffed. What, you want me to do more? No way. I knew she was just embarrassed, but I could tell she didn't hate it. Afterward, she noticed I was still eager. Didn't you just finish? Why are you like this again? She asked, surprised. I grinned sheepishly. It's because you're too beautiful, Mom. Please, help me one more time. She shook her head firmly. No, it's late. I need to get back to my room. What if your dad wakes up? I begged, please, Mom. I need you right now. She sighed, her tone softening. Fine, but this is the last time tonight. I'm spoiling you too much. She grumbled, I'm tired, you know, and gave me a playful glare. One more minute, then I'm done. I pleaded for more, but this time, she didn't budge. She stood up, leaving me to my pleading, and went back to her room. She didn't stay mad for long. A few days later, she was back in my room, helping me again. Over time, I realized I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. But I also saw how much Mom loved me, how far she'd go to help me through my struggles, even if it meant stepping into uncomfortable territory. I kept my promise, my grades improved, I focused on school, and I stopped seeking out those stories. Mom and I grew closer, not in the way I'd first imagined, but in a deeper, more meaningful way. We talked more, laughed more, and I came to appreciate her not just as a beautiful woman, but as the most caring mother I could ever ask for. I knew I'd never push her again, I'd learned my lesson, and I was ready to be the son she deserved.